Well, hello there, friends. So today we're doing something even a little bit more different. So anyway, I was going through my comments because I always do, right? You know that I always answer all my comments, and I came across a really good one that I haven't even thought about yet, or about making a video about or anything. It's a subject. I've mentioned this in passing on several videos, but you know what? This guy really asked the question. So here we go. So this is a comment from Jason R.R. Jensen. He says, I love watching your videos. I find your knowledge and experience as a great resource as a person that has opened an upholstery shop 1 year ago. I have one question. Could you do an in-depth video on what is needed to do upholstery in aircraft? What do I look for when ordering materials? Where do I purchase these materials? Do I need to keep a specific file on these materials? Thank you for being an inspiration to all of us that follow you, and good luck on your new adventures. So I went and I answered him. What I said was, hello, Jason. Wow, what a great suggestion. You may very well get your wish. Keep a lookout for your video. And please keep liking and watching. So you guys are wondering what's behind the cover right here behind me. Well, stick around and you're going to find out. Okay, let's work on his first question. He asks, what is needed to do upholstery in aircraft? Well, first of all, you need an aircraft. Okay, I know that wasn't that funny. Second of all, you need upholstery materials. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. Okay, so really, when it comes to aircraft and doing upholstery, I've always mentioned that, something that I wish I had known maybe 4 or 5 decades ago that I didn't know and only found out kind of like by accident because nobody ever told me this. So I'm telling you this so that way it's like, a great gift to you. So anyway, I started out my career, I guess I would say, doing auto upholstery. So when I was doing auto upholstery, um, I got really fascinated by it, and that was my main interest. And back in the 1990s, I was doing like $1 million cars, $1 million cars, $1 million cars. This is back in the 90s, okay, when there were $1 million, right? It's probably worth 2 million now. But anyway, I really enjoyed doing that, so I kind of pretty much just stuck to that because I had recognition. I had very important cars going into very important museums and car collections and all of that kind of stuff. High-end auctions. So I was really proud of my auto upholstery. It was only later when I found out that marine upholstery pays more than auto upholstery does. And then it was even after that when I discovered that aircraft upholstery pays even more than that. And that's what that's the advice I always give nowadays is if you ever get good with the aircraft people in your area, go to a small little general aircraft airport near your town or city and getting good with the people that have aircraft as their hobby, getting good with them. And, that's a fantastic place to start.
If you find value in my upholstery tutorials, now is an easier way to contribute to my YouTube channel. Buy a coffee by scanning this QR code now. Thank you.
So the next question is, what do I look for when ordering materials? For aircraft, what you're going to need is you're going to need what's called burn test materials. So the FAA, they require burn test certificates, okay, when you're doing aircraft upholstery. So the suppliers that carry that, and where I've always gone is, my go-to place, Keystone Brothers. There's locations throughout the United States, maybe one in a city near you. But anyway, Keystone Brothers, they sell burn test materials with a burn test certificate. And also another one is a good one is Douglas Leather. So I've never ordered from Douglas, but I have had their samples, and they send me a lot of stuff. But anyway, what you need is a burn test certificate for the material that you've ordered for that aircraft. So the purpose of that is you present that to the owner of the aircraft, and what they do is they include that into their logbook. So that way, when they get their annual inspections, they have that, and it's shown that their brand new interior, that it meets the specifications for aircraft. So his last question was if he has to keep specific files on hand about his burn test materials for the upholstery that he's doing for his customers. So I would have to say that I never have. I guess it wouldn't be a bad idea just to make a second copy for yourself and that you could hold on to it, I guess. I'm not sure anybody would ever come looking for you asking for it. It's really the pilot's or the owner's responsibility to keep that file on hand in its logbook. It's not really your responsibility. So I guess if you just wanted to keep a copy on hand for yourself, you could do that. So yesterday I had a really nice conversation with Antoine. Hey, Antoine. So we had about a 30-minute conversation yesterday. He's one of my Buy Me a Coffee contributors, and I gave him a call and we got together. And he had some really good questions that he was wondering about, because he's starting his own business. He's got a lot of boat experience. So, he's working for somebody right now at a shop. And one thing that I wanted to talk to him about that I didn't get to mention, of course, you think about things later, but he had a lot of questions, and I am pretty sure I got them all answered. Matter of fact, he was more concerned about taking up my time, but I kept him on the phone. I kept telling, giving him extra advice that I thought was really important, especially for somebody that's just starting out. So I kept him on the phone, giving him more advice. Right, Antoine? So he told me that he's working for somebody, and he pretty much knows how to do everything for boat upholstery, except he's never did the sewing. So what he did is he went out and he got his sewing machine, and he's out there practicing, because that's the only missing link. So once he gets that, going, where he's able to start sewing up his own seat covers and stuff like that for the seats, because he knows how to do everything else, that pretty much completes the puzzle for him. So, instead of sharing his income with his employer, he'll be able to go out on his own, and he'll be able to collect and accept 100% of his work. So he'll be able to get his own customers, and he'll be able to put his own deals together, and he will keep 100% of anything that he quoted to that customer for himself. He won't have to share half of that with an employer because maybe he's working by the hour. So I appreciate that he was so thoughtful, that he didn't want to take up too much of my time. But you know what? He gave me a contribution on the Buy Me a Coffee. So I've always told you guys that I'll spend as much time as it takes. Go ahead and really make a list of all your questions, and just go down your list, and however long it takes, I'll be there for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look and see what's underneath this cover. Okay, what is this? What is this? Oh, teas. Teas. Oh, look at that. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Da, da, da. Chickaboom. Chickaboom. Da, 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 da. Getting her undressed. Okay, what do you guys think this is? Those who guess in comments first gets the prize. They get to claim that they knew what it is. You guys have any answers yet? Uh-huh. What this is if you Google Liberty Walk, Okay, you'll find out that it's a company in Japan that makes these body kits for like the Lamborghinis and the Maseratis and the Ferraris. They're high end. It's kind of like the Louis Vuitton of body kits. They're very expensive. So it's all fitted with Liberty Walk everywhere. Look at that. Oh, there's Mr. Poodles. Mr. Poodle's got his bath today. Hey, Mr. Fluffy, I'm trying to get a video here. So their signature is imagine all the people living in life in peace. So what this is, my friends, and you'll also see a lot more information on my Instagram about this car and some videos. So this is a Carmen body. Okay. So do you guys is that another hint for you guys? Okay. So what this is, is the world's only Liberty Walk Chrysler Crossfire. It's got these monster 20 by 10 inch wheels in the back and the 19.9s in the front. So this car has been sitting for over a year because when I was going to drive it to our new property, I drove it for about 5 minutes and it quit on me and I had to have it towed here. So I couldn't figure out the problem. For a whole year, I tested different things and tried to get it going and it wouldn't go for me. So I did some reading on the internet and said I should try a part that I ordered on Amazon for $21. AutoZone had the same part for $79. So I bought this $21 part. I put it on and the car started. Oh man, I can't believe it. It's been sitting on for a whole year because of a $21 part. So this car is another one of the figments of my imagination. So I thought of this thing a long, long time. Actually, I built this car like 8 years ago. So let's check it out. Let's see if this thing is going to start or not. So the reason I even built this car in the first place is when I was in Scottsdale, Arizona. I used to take it to the car shows there every weekend. So up in Scottsdale, there's a place called the Pavilions, where there's a car show every weekend. There's like 600 cars show up. So anyway, I wanted a car that I could do the upholstery to show my upholstery work. So that's really why I built the car. You can see the headliner and everything that I got going on here. I know poodles. I know poodles. Yes. Oh my gosh. I know, huh? So this car's been sitting for several days. Let's see if it'll start up. All right. Music to my ears. For those of you that don't know, the Chrysler Crossfire is actually a Mercedes SLK lightweight coupe. So Mercedes, they made all the SLK convertibles, but they were too heavy because of the convertible top mechanism. So they wanted to make a lightweight coupe. And that's when Chrysler came along, put their name on this and called it a Crossfire. Okay, let's see if we can get some sound out of this thing. Oh, I love that sound. So this has a heads-up display for speed. I have my dual cameras right there for front and rear view camera. It's not connected right now because I was working on it. Anyway, the floor mats are covered up to protect the upholstery on the floor. So I got the matching on the seats right there. A little bit better view of the headliner. It's black suede. That's what it looks like there from the back. Uh-huh. There's something a little bit special here in the front. If you read my biography on my website at Rudolph's Virtual Museum on rudolphsupholstery.com, you're going to see this. I'm talking about auto neon. I put neon lights on this car because that's what I was doing back in 1984. We were putting neon underneath the cars, and it got so popular. We were doing that in Tempe, Arizona in 1984. It became so popular that everybody in the grandma started putting lights underneath their cars. Even AutoZone started selling it. But now, of course, everybody's using LEDs. So that's my heritage. I was a cutting edge innovator back in 1984, over 40 years ago, putting lights on cars. Now even Mercedes is putting them on the interiors. Is that crazy or what? So because of my aircraft design experience, I designed this front end here aerodynamically. So after over 60 miles an hour, this car just, it locks in and it just drives straight as an arrow because of what's going on there on the front end. There's no left and right steering problems or anything like that. It just locks in. So this car, just like everything else I own, is going to have to go before my relocation to Palawan, the island of dreams, right? So it's another one of the figments of my imagination, like I said before, one of my creations, which makes this like one of my children, and I'm going to have to give her up. So if you know anybody that wants to buy a car, let me know. So anyway, like I was saying,
If you like this video, you'll really like the next one.